Hello, rock stars. Welcome to another edition of In the Pit. I'm your host, Rick, and this week, if I could get my mic to work, my guest is the one and only Jeff Comas. How are you, sir?
What's going on, Rick?
I always joke because I am like my behind the scenes here. I'm the one that's got to make sure all the gear. I don't have a roadie. It's me. Like I've done shows, and Mr. Rose is like, we couldn't hear you.
What?
Oh, wait, huh? What?
Huh?
And if I could sign language other than, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to, other than the number one. Yeah.
Pick your one.
Pick something. Oh my God. How are you, my friend?
I'm excellent. How are you doing, Rick?
Oh my God. Thank you so much for asking. I am doing phenomenal. I'm not in the box today. Normally I'm in timeout, have you ever watched the, what is it? The Minions, Despicable Me.
Yeah.
And they threaten to put the kid back in. There's the one kid that's in the box, like for not selling enough cookies. Yeah, I'm not in the box. I'm not in timeout.
That's good.
Actually, I wouldn't mind having a box if I could like have snacks and stuff in there, a bottle of tequila. I'm like, put me in timeout. I don't care. I'll sit in the box.
I mean, well, when I was growing up, I was always the first one to get sent to his room because it occurred to me that's where all the good shit was. That's where my Mad magazines were. That's where my records were. That's where my Atari was.
I swear to God, I thought you were going to say like, that's where my box was. I was like, what? Wait, hold on. Did you live under the stairs like Harry Potter?
The box. You know the box.
Oh, wait, which box are we talking about?
Yeah, you know exactly the box I'm talking about.
Oh my God. It's funny because as kids, you don't realize it until you become an adult. We used to like, if somebody got a new piano or they got a refrigerator, we grabbed that crap and we were like putting boxes together to make forts. And I mean, and the parents were like, really? That's got to go in the garbage. And we're like, no,
you understand. We're not finished yet.
Yeah, we got a lot of life in this box. Are you kidding?
Yeah, it's not pulp yet.
This was our Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it was. It was our Millennium Falcons, our X-Wing fighters. What was the Battlestar Galactica ships called? It was those two.
Yes.
The Cylon, right?
Yeah.
No, whatever.
I don't even know. The fact that you knew Cylon, I'm like, wow.
Was that even? Yeah.
We're nerds, right?
I've come to terms with it.
Oh, I think that's my next tattoo. It's just going to say, it's either, instead of nerd, I'm just going to get a tattoo of a box of nerds put on my arm.
That's it. We should all get nerds on our arms. Just the candy icon, with the big nose. Kind of looks like a booger if booger was personified.
Dude, I'll get it confused with the boogers I wipe on my arm. So, oh my God. See, this is why my shows go off the rails so fast. Because
you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, I've seen like 12 squirrels already, and they're all my friends. I just want to hug them and squeeze them and love them.
Oh yeah, name him George.
Oh, George.
Tell me about the flowers, George.
So people already go, we're sorry, folks. You know what you're tuning into.
Oh yeah, they're like,
come on the show.
Oh, is this going right now or is this going to show later?
It depends on which lie you want me to tell you.
Okay. Well, then people are going to be like, no, it's not right time for this.
Can we save this for later? Oh my God. So man, we got a lot to talk about. You did not just leave. I say scary things. There you are.
I'm back.
Your screen went black, and I was going to talk so much crap about you behind your back, but I mean, you didn't really leave.
All true.
I want to go back in history. I want to I'm not going to go, tell me about your infancy and when you first became enamored with the bass. We're not going that far back. Okay. But let's go back a little bit, and let's talk about your time with Scary Cherry and the Bang Bangs. Are we allowed to talk about that? There's no gag order or anything like that?
No, absolutely not.
Dude, you were in Scary Cherry for a bit, right?
Yeah, from 2016.
Okay.
June. Yeah.
And you guys are not really doing anything. Are you completely defunct or just taking a hiatus?
A hiatus, really.
Nice. So
Yeah.
so you're saying there's a chance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's always a chance. But no, it's there wasn't ever a definitive kiss off or anything. And
Okay.
everybody's still friends and family, and it's just I think we just kind of wanted to do other things for a while. But I mean,
Nice.
you don't ever count that out.
Nice. And so you had the pleasure of, I mean, again, that you had some wicked big talent in
Oh
Scary
yeah.
Chick.
Oh yeah.
And you're good friends with all of them.
Mhm.
In fact, it's funny because you and I and Mario and
Mhm.
Rob were recently hanging out. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
That was a
it's
good
funny.
hang.
Yeah. It was phenomenal. But I realized how you guys go back a minute and a half. Like, what is it like? What was it like doing that? Or what is it like when you guys get together? Is it lighthearted? Kind of like, I mean, are you guys the same in rehearsal, or is it even like scarier?
Oh, it's scarier. Leslie, Mario, and I all have what we would call a very well, one way to put it would be unique sense of humor. So the question isn't when we get together, is it going off the rails? The
It's already
question
gone.
is, when is it going off the rails? At what point?
It was off the rails when you got together.
Yeah. And you've kind of seen the tip of the iceberg between Mario and I at this point, but I mean, it goes much deeper.
I didn't understand why he kept trying to
abuse.
walk you out. I didn't understand why he kept trying to walk you out of the room. I was like,
Yeah.
really?
Oh, that goes way back. So when I first joined the Bang Bangs, it had been a minute since I'd really done a serious, full-time band. I mean,
Okay.
I had sat in here, worked a little over here, but actually being committed fully in a band, it had been several years. And so I was, shaking the dust off, we'll say. And those songs that were written were not easy songs necessarily to play on the bass.
Yeah.
That's how Mario had written them. And so, every time that, I'd throw a clam or something, when I was kind of getting back at it, it became, I'd kind of start blushing and, kind of shrink a little bit, embarrassed. Did anybody hear that? And Mario started just feeding off of it. And every time he'd hear something, he'd just look at me, stop playing, and just point to the door with my finger in there. Yeah. And so that kind of gained traction, and now whenever one of us throws a clam, we look at the other one, and we get to step and get out.
Yeah, exactly. Get out. No,
Yeah,
and
there
it's
you
funny
go.
because anybody who's a musician and been a musician for more than a minute, you realize at this level of the game and up that you're gonna make mistakes. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
normally we hear it, bandmates hear it, the audience never even gets it, and I, as a drummer, I've been playing 3+ decades, and I throw out gaffes all the time. And everyone's like, "Oh, you played a flawless show." And I'm like, "Did you see me laughing?" They're like, "Oh yeah, you look like you're having so much fun." I'm like, "Yeah," because every time I'm laughing, it's because I screwed up. You just don't catch. And I'm honest about it. I don't even care because yes, there's that proficiency level, and you get to mess with your bandmates because it's like, "Ha, gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha." You're like, it's gonna happen.
Towards the end of it all, if I ever threw a clam on stage, I just point at Mario. Dude.
Just point at the other guy, like, whatever.
Yeah. That's always Mario's fault anyway.
Oh, you know what? And it's a dream. I love being around Mario. It's funny. I think I told
He's
you
a
this off camera.
hobo.
Oh, dude. Yeah. First of all, he's the only other person I know that wears well, no, there's a couple other guys that wear nail polish as much as I do. And I fell in love. He's the reason I fell in love with Bowie. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't a monster Bowie fan until I went and saw him with the Thin White Dukes. And I was sold. I was like, oh my God, there's so many great hits. And it's one of my biggest regrets now is that I never got to go see Bowie play.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see Bowie either.
And
I didn't really gain. I liked Bowie, and I knew about obviously you know about Bowie, but I did not appreciate how significant his contribution was until I did meet Mario and you know, and the Bang Bangs for that matter, and started really listening and being like, holy shit, this guy, he was something else.
All I can say is what an ambassador, and to call him a friend is a privilege, and you know, to get to jam with him is fun. But that's got to, being in the Bang Bangs had to be kind of a, how much did that change your style, or did it even, was it just like right up your alley?
I view it as a pre-Bang Bangs, post-Bang Bangs situation. I really do. I mean, as goofy as this sounds, the education that I got being in the Bang Bangs, both with the writing process, with performing, I mean, even my bass playing, you know, evolved.
Nice.
Unlike any other musical project. And that was the main thing that, I mean, obviously I loved it. I loved the family of it. I loved the music, but the thing that was most important that I walked away with was that education, man. I mean, I got shit from that band that, you know, most musicians won't ever, you know, get to experience, because, you know, I'll toot the horn and kiss the ass and say that I've never seen or worked with a writing team as good as Mario or Leslie.
That's awesome.
I mean, that was out of my all the bands I've ever been in, those two were the best writers.
So you've been playing now for what, 5 years, 4 years?
Yeah, well, that's a good age.
You're such an ass. I'm such an ass. I'm just saying. No, you've been playing for a few decades.
Months.
You've been playing. I started last week.
I've got a DCB down. DCB.
Oh, you're so full of crap.
F sharp.
You're so full of crap.
Next week, I'm going to learn about the G string.
Don't forget the Z scale.
Oh, yeah, the Z scale, yeah. I'm also learning the great key B knuckle.
Oh, my God. No, but you've been playing for a few decades now. I mean, we all have. And I got to tell you, now, let's switch gears a little, because I know that you've recently gone from doing originals into this tribute thing called Sonic Temple.
Temple.
And again, I'm dear friends with Brian and Jenny.
Oh yeah.
You know, Kenny, again, one of my fellow drumming spirits. He and I, again, anytime I get to watch Kenny play, I love it.
He's awesome.
And
I love Kenny.
Now, you guys recently added Josh Olson, who sings in Go Ask Alice, Alice in Chains tribute.
That guy's awesome.
I got to ask. So you're the newish guy, but you slid right in like nobody's business. Like, I got this. Not a big deal. Was it a hard transition, or was it super simple? Like,
you know, it was very, very easy. First of all, those guys, Brian, Kenny, you know, Josh, all of them were all so just nice guys to work with. You know, no pretenses. They're all just great guys. Kenny and I had worked together. We had met in Joey C. Jones' band.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was the bass player for Joey for the last year and a half.
Okay.
And I met Kenny that way, and Kenny and I just, it's one of those things that you always look for, and you know what I'm talking about as part of the rhythm team. You look for your counterpart, man.
Yep.
And I for me with drummers, if I can connect, if I can lock in with you and just have that know where you're gonna go, and you kind of know what I'm doing, that's something right there. That's for me. And Kenny and I felt like had that. So when he asked me if I would be interested in playing for Sonic Temple, it was I was just over the moon, because it was like, okay, cool, awesome. You know, you asked me to do it. And I said, yeah. And then I met Brian and was just like, well, this guy's the fucking coolest. He's awesome. I went and practiced and with them and met Brian and Jenny and the keyboard player Matt and you know it worked. You know,
It does work.
I had listened to a lot of those songs since the 80s. So a
Yeah.
lot of it was just kind of knowing the songs, and some of the songs I had actually learned to play over the years. So all in all, out of a 16 song set, there was maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe half of them I had to learn, and the other
Okay.
half I just kind of had to play and, acquaint myself with. So it went real smooth, and I love being part of that band. I'm honored to be part of the Sonic
Oh,
Temple.
so I was really blessed to have you guys do this unplugged tribute unplugged
Yeah.
thing. And I got to see you guys. I haven't seen you guys full band electric. Yeah, which I'm gonna get to see because Basket Case is opening up for you guys. We're gonna talk
Mhm.
about that. But to see you guys do the acoustic thing, wow.
That was
It
amazing.
it was
I
electric. Even though it was an acoustic, it felt electric. Like you guys were on fire.
Thank you.
On fire. And I
Thank you.
was
We
I
loved
was
it.
giddy. I was giddy. It was so much fun.
Thank you.
Really.
We had a blast doing it. We did.
It's and you guys transferred everything beautifully from
Mhm.
the electric to the acoustic. When you guys first sat down and like, hey, we're going to do this thing for Rick, do it acoustically. What was that conversation like? I want to be a fly on the wall. Were you guys like,
Oh,
this is going to be tough? Or were you like, we got this?
it was giddiness, I would say. And I remember we were sitting on the patio at Brian's house, all of us, and we were just going through, channels, listening to, we could do this version and we could transfer this and we can make this happen. I mean, it was just, four fat kids in a candy store, really,
Well, I want
and
to come over. I like candy.
yeah, I mean, but it was just so there was never any sort of you know, anxiety or it was very positive the whole way. It was nothing but a pleasure to do it. We would try things, and that was what was really exciting, was trying out different things, and oh well that works and that's awesome, and oh that's shit, throw that away.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
you know and so the cool thing was is that every step of the way it seemed like all of us were on the same page.
Good. Good.
Admittedly, I get a little antsy sometimes, and I just, let's try it again. Let's do it again. But we had it, and
Funny you
you know,
say that because I've witnessed that
mhm.
firsthand.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like, let's do it one more time. One more time.
yeah, I'm just a firm believer. Drill it until you have it, man.
I agree. You win
And
because by the time you put any product on stage as a musician, it should be there's zero thinking. It's all muscle memory. It's all
mhm,
instincts because the rest, when you get on stage, you're really there now to entertain and not think about the music.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
it's all just it's flowing through your veins. You just got to go through the
yeah,
motion, make it
absolutely.
happen.
Well,
So
see, I view it like this: you practice for the rehearsal, you rehearse for the show. You don't practice at rehearsal and you don't rehearse at the show. You're past those points. If you go to rehearsal and you're not practiced, you're not ready to rehearse. And if you're not
I
rehearsed, you're not ready for the show. And that sounds really pompous of me.
So basket case, our rule is again, and I guess I apply that to all bands, is you go practice rehearsal is at home is to learn your parts. When you go to rehearsal with the band, it is to learn their parts. Although I do learn most of it because I need the cues. And again, it should just flow. This should be in
Oh, yeah.
there's no more thinking because when you step on stage, we really are theater kids. We're actors because when you get on stage, you're there to put on a performance. The music is almost like a byproduct. Although I'm a huge musician and I believe about producing it organically. Like I want to make the music on stage, but that's just a given because we're musicians. But when we get up there, you put on your outfit and you entertain people.
Yeah. And you don't want to make a turd in the bed, do you, Rick?
Oh, that's not what I say. I point blank go, when you get on stage, you don't want to shit the bed.
Yeah.
Because it's there are guys that are phenomenal players, and I've watched them over the years. I'm sure you've seen them too. And then they get on stage and they freak out like, oh my God, there's people out there. And you could be a great studio guy, but you're not geared to be a stage guy. And,
Oh yeah, totally.
And vice versa. I know
Yeah.
great stage musicians that, sorry, you're not a studio guy. Like,
oh yeah. Well, you know what's funny about that is that it wasn't until recently, and I won't be embarrassed to say this, that I finally realized that a lot of the recordings we've heard of our favorite recordings weren't actually done by the players we think they were done by. They were done by studio musicians. And I started thinking back even further about that. And admittedly, I'm a Monkees fan. I love the Monkees. I don't give a shit. You know, I don't care if people think they're cheese. A good song's a good song.
Love the
And
Monkees.
if indeed back in that time, studio musicians were used more than we will ever hear of.
Yes.
Why did they catch so much shit for not playing their instruments?
I mean, like with Milli Vanilli, I get
didn't.
it. With Milli Vanilli, I get it because they were lip syncing.
Yeah.
But and even that nowadays, everybody goes and I mean, look at like Britney Spears. Doesn't she lip sync most of it? I mean, and I'm throwing her under the bus, but there are entertainers like that get up there and it's all pre-recorded. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big firm believer of I'm a musician through and through. Produce it on stage. You're gonna have some flubs. You're gonna have some intonations and some just flow that it may be different than it was last night. And you know, I'm okay with that because
I want that.
Thank you.
I want that. And when I watch a live performance, Rush notwithstanding, I don't want it to sound exactly like the recording. I want to know I'm there and I'm watching these guys play the shit live and not playing to the track.
Yeah. That's a big deal. That's a big deal to me.
One of the cool things for me as a kid that I loved was watching Live Aid, because you had every single band that I could have possibly known, with the exception of the Stones and the Beatles, playing that day. And it was done live without tracks, without any sort of, I mean, you heard what they sounded like.
Okay, so here's the thing is I love albums, studio versions, meaning I love how it's formatted, but I want to hear the musicians now do that live. It's never the same. And I know that I see it differently than some of my friends that are musicians. I'm okay. I am a musician. My job is to produce it. Even when I was in an original band, Quickie, which we have songs on movies and television. In fact, the intro song to this show is a Quickie song. So it's actually one of our recordings from the 90s that was used.
Nice.
And again, it was never the same live as it was on the album. I think it's better. The album is like your business card. And then when you get on stage, now here's the song. And because in the studio, you can have like 5, 6, 7, 8 guitar tracks and, you know, a bunch of different vocal tracks or multiple bass lines, or you can punch stuff in and out. I want that live raw feel.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of the things I loved about grunge. I was in Seattle in the 90s. That's how I cut my teeth. I love the fact that Nirvana, yes, they were just 3 dudes, but they weren't overly talented. They were talented, but not overly. It was just raw, basic music. And there were a lot of mistakes. I'm into that, you know, like, I want to see bands maybe get off on a tangent or end up in a holding pattern, or that's why I'm a big Green Day fan. Green Day does it all the time. They got a ton of holding patterns where they call and answer with the audience gets engaged, you know, or they're talking. I love that kind of crap, man. It's like, you know,
definitely that it's what gives it humanity.
I think so. And
otherwise you're just relying on technology, and you know, at that point, what's left?
You can just get a monkey up there and hit the. So as we get, man, I knew we were going to get off tangent.
Technology.
So doing the Sonic Temple thing though, that's good old fashioned rock and roll.
Yes.
I mean, now let's talk a little bit, because we do have a show coming up. We got a show coming up on March 31st.
We do. Sonic Temple and Basket Case at the Granada.
We are blessed. I've never played that stage. Now, I've emceed a bunch of events. I've seen a bunch of shows. I've never played that stage. So me and the boys are like, wow, we get to play the Granada. but we're opening for you guys. In Sonic Temple and Basket Case, we played shows together before, but this is kind of the first Sonic Temple show since Brian had his medical issue.
Yeah.
And he put it on Facebook, so I'm okay talking about it. Brian had a minor stroke. I think you've seen him. I know the Blokes just played.
Man, how about that? Last week the guy's down. He's playing a show last night. I don't know anybody else that would have been able. That dude is a fortress in himself.
No, hold on. Now I saw the $1 Million Man. I know that they can rebuild you. Like, it's not a big deal anymore.
It is a big deal.
and I won't. I'm Brian's my friend. He knows I'm going to tease him, but I'm not. I mean, I'm so thankful that he's okay. But then it's like, I actually sent Jenny a text message, and I'm like, tell Brian if he wants attention, he just needs to ask for it. Like, well, what the crap, And that was joking, but it's, I'm glad he's okay, because we get to share the stage. And he's a wicked talented guitarist, but he's got a great support staff behind him. And you guys are phenomenal. So I'm actually looking forward to this show. It's going to be a big one. Again, that's March 31st at the Granada. Tickets, there's a link out there. We're all going to be sharing it. So we want to make sure that we get it out there, and get your tickets. Come support.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we're raising money for his therapy, which is going to be, the therapy is not because of the stroke. It's because of all his friends teasing him. He's going to need to see it.
I'm gonna go. I have not teased him.
Oh man, I can't even help I love Brian. I want to be able to help myself. I'm going to say something, and Brian, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I can't help myself. I'm going to pick on you. I would expect you guys to do the same thing to me. Like, okay, those are my friends.
I'll play the counterpoint and say that I love Brian and Jenny to death, and I, am stoked to have them in my life, and I'm so glad he's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll let you fuck with him.
but now that he's okay, I'm going to pick on him, because that's what friends do. That picking is caring.
Right. Yeah, totally.
So let's talk about another secret little project that you got going on. Can't talk about the music.
No, we can't talk about it.
Can't talk about the band name.
Can't talk about that.
But we happen to be in a band together. That's good. I'm telling people, I gotta say.
I mean, if it was, that's provided if it was really happening.
Oh,
which it's not. Which it's.
Dude, if we could rehearse in Area 51, it would make it so much better. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm excited.
I think when we finally do it, I mean, there needs to be like fucking fireworks, or put a plane in the air with one of those things that flies around with the banner, it says,
I will say, so Adrian was on the show. I'm not going to say who else is in the band. I think I may have, but they got short memories. So you and I are with Miss Adrian. We got a fun band that's coming out.
I got to tell you, I mean, I had known her from Prima Donna. I'd never actually met her.
Oh, really?
No, our paths have never. I don't know anybody.
Hang out with me. I'll introduce you to everybody, because they all hate me.
Fair enough.
Everybody hates me, so it's okay.
Everybody hates me.
You'll be
perfect. Perfect. I'll fit right in.
I hadn't been in a band with her either, but she is wicked talented.
Oh, she is. She's great. I'm excited to be working with her, and she's got a beautiful voice, and she's beautiful, and this is just, how can this go wrong?
All I'm going to say is the first rehearsal, we walked in, did 4 songs, and they were all stage ready, like that. Like,
I had kind of mentioned it, and I was kind of tooting the horn a little bit, but because the next day I went, and someone's like, "How'd it go?" I was like, I haven't been in many tribute bands. I have seen quite a few tribute bands, but I have never shut my eyes and heard a tribute band actually sound like the band they're tributing until last night.
Okay, that's a bold statement, because there are some phenomenal tributes, and I'm going to say coming out the gate, we will have a phenomenal product. It's a great band. There's a ton of hits. We will definitely hang with we will not be ashamed to be on stage with some of the top talent in this town. I'm absolutely confident and giddy about it. So it's,
Yeah.
and I know I kind of like when I had Adrian on, people are going to message me like, Rick, what is it? What is it? Patience. We will tell you. I'm just letting you know. And it's probably going to be a May, June launch. We're not rushing the marketplace, even though we could. It's got to be the right bill, the right fit. And when we unleash it, you guys are going to be like, oh, okay. And for those of you that don't know the band, you're going to be like, okay, ton of hits. For those of you that love the band that we're doing, you're going to be like, oh my God, hallelujah. There's not another tribute doing this music. I think there's one other in the country. So it's again, a ton of hits. It's going to be, I'm not even going to tell you anything more than that. There's a ton of hits. I can't believe it is a 90s, 2000 genre. You're going to love it. That's all I can say. Like,
oh, it's going to be awesome. I mean, it already is awesome. I am having so much fun learning these songs, and it's just.
And you and I, as drummer, bass player, rhythm section, instantly. I mean, we talked on the phone, but it was an instant connection in my eyes.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I am blessed. I'm going to tell you, I've got Carlos Silva on bass doing Rebel Yell. I've got Gabe Garza on bass doing my Green Day thing. I've got Harry doing bass in Wild Boys, because I'm in Wild Boys now. And
hey, I'm a huge Duran Duran fan, man.
I'm just going to say, I have got in front of me some of the top bass players in DFW, and there's there are so many great bass players.
This town is full of amazing bass players. I mean, in the same town, you've got Kenley Wolf, you've got Keith Long,
what about Jamie?
I mean,
Jamie,
you've got Bob Zilla.
Oh my God.
This town does not need another good bass player, because
I'm just a pop punk drummer, and every time I get to jam with one of the top bass players, and I'm a rhythm guy, I'm kidding, man. There are so many guys in this town. I would love to jump on the kit behind them, even if it was a jam session, just to throw down, because there's so many just wicked talented bass players. And let's stop right there. There are so many talented musicians in this. It's not just bass.
There really are.
Drummers, guitarists, vocalists, keyboardists, bass players. I'm spoiled. I feel very privileged to be in DFW doing music.
It's a great town.
There's so many people I can call friends, and we are one giant family, and it's we're all kind of related. Like, wow. That's all I can say is wow. Yeah. So I will go. We'll leave it alone there. Dude, I got to ask you, as we get closer, would you come back on and do this again?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm going to suck you in. You're going to be back on here again. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's a blast, man. Anytime.
Oh my Lord.
I'm always happy to come on and bullshit.
Oh, we do it on the phone, even outside of here. So
I'm a great bullshit artist.
This is just another like Jeff and I talk enough that this is just another conversation. Like we
yeah, pretty much.
Oh my Lord. Well, thank you for being on the show. And for those of you tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. I always appreciate it. So why don't we take a look at all the places that you can actually catch Concert Connection?
You can follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Roku, and Amazon Fire Channel. So please, if you would, go subscribe, like our channels, and if you'd go to YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe. We'd love to have your follows.
Jeff, again, thank you so much for being my guest. I can't wait to have you back. I look forward to getting in the trenches with you and throwing down. And everybody, this has been Jeff. I am Rick, and we will see you somewhere in the pit.